Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the June 16, 2026 board meeting of the Bucks County Intermediate Unit School Directors. Could we please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
United States of
America,
America,
and to the republic for which it stands.
one nation,
One nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all. And that was from Angel Sanafani's Multiple Disabilities Support Classroom at the Newtown Elementary School. I believe that's in.
Yeah, there's two classrooms there.
Oh, okay. And from Hannah Novik's Multiple Disability, also at the Debor Elementary School. Are they both Central Bucks or
Newtown is Council Rock,
Council
Dobler is
Rock.
Penridge.
Council Rock and Penridge? Okay, Michelle, could we get a roll call for attendance, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. D'Angelo,
Here.
Ms. Sheehan,
Here.
Ms. Foley,
Present.
Mr. Godikson,
Present.
Mr. Hollowell,
I am here.
Ms. Khan, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Reimers.
Here.
Ms. Stern,
Here.
Miss Walbeezer,
Here.
Mr. Waldorf.
He's here, we just can't hear him.
Okay. Ms. Winter,
We gotta make sure we can hear him. Mr. Waldorf, you're on mute. Can we make sure we can hear you?
Present.
thank you. Ms. Winters,
Here.
Mr. Wers. Okay, we have 10 present.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. We did have an executive session earlier. We met in executive session to receive the annual Act 44 of the 2018 Safety and Security Report, as well as to discuss some personnel items. Who's that calling in? Okay,
He must be having audio.
okay. Okay, so now moving on to public participation. We have one person for public participation. Sandy Werkheiser. Would you come up to the podium?
Hello, thank you for being here today. I wrote a little something. I've been retired for the last year. Whether we know it or not, we will all leave a legacy. Oftentimes our legacies are characterized by what we feel is most valuable and choose to pass on. There are different types of legacies, such as biological legacy, consisting of our genetics and its lineage. Another common and known legacy is a material legacy, our wealth and possessions. However, the most priceless legacy is that of our values, faith, and our cultural heritage. Most people seek to pass on their values, beliefs, and the examples of how they live their lives. Kindness, helping others, making time for friends and family, being a good steward, serving those in need. Erik Erikson coined the term, quote, generativity, describing it as the extent to which a person is interested in the well-being of others, particularly with regard to benefiting future generations, unquote. This can be a lifelong process involving one's dedication and contribution to the well-being of others and the generations to come. These contributions serve broad and profound goals, which extend far beyond the self. It becomes a passion in its truest form. I sincerely loved my position as a job coach here with the BCIU. I was so proud to have a badge and a title, especially after I had just completed a year of breast cancer. It held such purpose for me. Our human nature beckons us to answer what is my purpose in life? I was here for those students in every way I could be to benefit their growth as a human being. Everything we did for the IU was meticulously prepared, tasks broken down to experience success at every level, and in the end, reviewed by me. After all, I wanted the IU's name to be represented to the community in its highest quality. My retirement was my choice. However, in making that decision, I feel I lost so much. I lost this community of people. I lost a significant income, my health insurance. For my own personal reasons, I could not continue. I have since made peace with the additional time on my hands. I have processed a great deal concerning my mother's aging. I am grateful for our time together. I don't focus on the grief to come. Rather, I lean into who we are now together. My mom turns 96 in 3 weeks. So thank you for letting me speak.
So beautifully said. Okay, that's the end of the public participation. So let's move on to our action items for our roll call vote. This will be item number 3, which is a motion to approve officers for the Bucks IU Board of School Directors for a 1-year term from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. May I have a motion to approve the election of John D'Angelo for president, Liz Sheehan for vice president, Michelle Ruggiero for secretary, and Allison Bilhavlik for treasurer?
So moved.
Motion, Dana?
Second.
Second,
Just follow Mr. Godikson.
Goodison? Okay, any questions or concerns? Michelle, you want to do a roll call?
Mr. D'Angelo,
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan,
Yes.
Ms. Foley,
Yes.
Mr. Flint, Mr. Godikson,
Yes.
Mr. Hollowell,
Yes.
Mr. Reimers,
Yes.
Ms. Stern,
Yes.
Ms. Walbeezer, Mr. Waldorf,
Yes.
Ms. Winters.
Yes.
So that passes unanimously with a vote of 10.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to thank everyone on the board for your confidence in me and the confidence of the slate. And I think you're all well aware that this is truly one of the, I know you serve on your local boards, but the dynamic on this board is hugely different than the dynamics on our local boards. And I think that it's one of the contributing factors to the success of this great organization. So again, thank you so much for your confidence. All right, moving on to item 4, which would be our consent agenda items. We will now move to consent agenda items 5A through 9L. So if you've taken a look, or as anyone has taken a look, does anyone need to have any item pulled for discussion or voted on separately in the set of items 5A through 9L? I'll take that as a no. And if not, may I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 5A through 9L?
So moved.
Second.
Second? Okay, any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? And that motion carries unanimously. All right. Item 10, our presentations and mini reports. First, we're going to be recognizing some of our retirees for the 2025-2026 school year. Nora?
Good evening. My name is Nora Cuff, and I serve as a supervisor of recruitment and retention for the Bucks IU. This evening, I am honored to present the Recognition of Retirees mini report, which can be found under presentations and mini reports in the board agenda. Tonight marks a meaningful occasion as we come together to celebrate the dedicated staff members who have retired from the Bucks IU during the 2025-2026 school year. It is a privilege to acknowledge their outstanding careers and the lasting legacies they leave behind. On behalf of the IU Board of School Directors and the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, I extend our heartfelt gratitude for your countless years of compassion, service, and unwavering commitment to both the students and the Bucks IU community. This year, we proudly recognize 14 retirees, 3 of whom are joining us this evening. Collectively, these individuals have contributed an impressive 252 years of service to the Bucks IU. As a part of this evening's celebration, I invite Dr. Hoffman and Mr. D'Angelo to the back of the room to have pictures taken with each retiree. I will welcome the 3 retirees who are with us tonight and kindly request that each retiree rise as you are called so that your supervisor can share a few words in your honor. Thank you all for joining us to celebrate their achievements, share memories, and wish them well as they embark on the next exciting journey of their lives. At this time, I'd like to call Stacy Henderson up with Pat Clark.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stacy Henderson, Supervisor of Transportation at the Bucks IU. Tonight, I am proud to celebrate Pat Clark, who has dedicated 23 years to the Bucks IU. Pat began her journey as a driver and later served as a lead driver, making a lasting impact along the way. Her commitment, leadership, and care for others has truly made a difference. Pat, as you begin this next chapter, we wish you joy in whatever comes next, whether it's traveling, relaxing on the beach, bowling, or spending time with your grandkids. Congratulations on a well-earned retirement and new adventure.
You want to say anything? Please. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to call up Kath Briner and Denise Dion.
Hi, I'm Kathy Briner. I am one of the supervisors for our early childhood program. I've known Denise for almost 24 years. We were both instructional assistants when I first met her. One night at a planning event for the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life, she came over to me and said, "I think I work with you at the IU." So I can tell you how talented Denise is as a paraeducator, highly skilled in providing ABA instruction, consistently designing developmentally appropriate activities, and being highly collaborative with her colleagues, which are all true. But it is Denise's natural ability to make connections that is to be celebrated. Her first connection was with her neighbor. She was working with her son, who connected her with the IU in 1997, telling her they're looking for ABA trainers. She started part-time, providing home-based programs for preschoolers, eventually full-time in autistic support, as a PCA in the community and our classrooms. It's through these opportunities that Denise created connections. Through these connections, Denise established strong and meaningful relationships with children and colleagues. It's through these connections Denise was able to support children and coaching teachers, sometimes too, in making meaningful progress in developing their skills. It's through these meaningful connections that Denise made an impact on the IU classrooms and community. Over her 28 years with the Bucks IU, she touched the lives of children and staff, leaving a lasting impression on everyone fortunate enough to know her as both a dedicated professional and a member of the ECP family. So congratulations. Thank you. And enjoy what you do next. I'm gonna miss everybody.
Denise's daughter is one of our teachers. This is Sarah. So this is Sandy. This is legacy right here. Right?
Oh, how awesome.
I know, right? At this time, I'd like to call up Lori McCrory and Sandy Werkheiser.
Hello, I am Lori McCrory, the Supervisor of Adult Programs here at the Bucks IU. And tonight I would like to recognize Sandy Werkheiser and the impact that she had made through the years of her service as a job coach at the Bucks IU. And most recently, expanded her role, eagerly volunteering to work with adult clients. Throughout her career, Sandy brought dedication, compassion, and heart to everything she did. She built strong relationships with employers, community partners, students, adults, and helped create meaningful opportunities that fostered confidence, independence, and a sense of belonging. Sandy's contributions have left a lasting mark on our programs and the lives of those that we serve. Please join me in thanking Sandy for her years of service and wishing her a happy, healthy, and fulfilling retirement.
The original hire.
Did you hire Sandy? Fleming hired Sandy. Love it. Yeah.
Wait, don't go back yet. Before we end the retiree presentation and celebration, I would like to have a small video montage played here that was put together for our retirees and honoring in this celebration. All right, can we have all the retirees come up for one photo all together with Dr. Hoffman and Mr. D'Angelo?
Should I get in the front?
Looks good. One vertical.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay, our next presentation will be our special ed mini report, the Bucks IU Deaf and Blind Resource Team.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Gina Meisler. I'm the Program Director for Related Services, and I'm joined tonight by Erin Hodnett. She is our Supervisor for Related Services specific to hearing and vision programs. So you all have the mini report in your orange folders, but I am very pleased to have a chance to highlight the work of the Deafblind Resource Team, although that is a mouthful, so we usually just say the DBRT. In 2021, Patton offered a grant to build expertise across the state in supporting students who are deafblind, which essentially just means a combined vision and hearing loss. We applied for and received that grant at that time, and we are now in our 5th year as a grant recipient. This is a really low incidence disability. Most educators will work an entire career and never support a student who is deafblind. So when they are tasked with educating that student, it makes sense that they don't really know how to approach that. These are students that face really significant challenges in things that we don't even think about. Things like navigating the environment, communicating with others, accessing their instruction, just having an understanding of what's happening in the environment around them. And so they do really require highly specialized supports and teaching strategies. So during the first 3 years of the grant, the focus really was on building the expertise of our team. This is a multidisciplinary team. It includes a teacher of the deaf, a teacher of the blind and visually impaired, I'm going to miss some, a speech language pathologist, an occupational therapist, a program and training specialist, orientation and mobility specialist, an assistive technology specialist, and a supervisor. Erin has been an integral part of this team since its inception in 2021. So for 3 years, that team of folks got to go out and learn from the experts. And now they have a really great knowledge base of evidence-based practices for supporting students with deafblindness. And now we have the benefit of a team who is available to provide consultative services to teaching teams in the districts around the county and to help provide the specialized supports that these students need. The thing that I most appreciate about this work is that it is collaborative and consultative. This is not a team that comes in and provides a service and walks away, right? Our whole goal here is to build capacity among other educators and families so that they feel like they have the knowledge, the skills, the confidence to support these students every day. I think that was Patton's goal when they developed the grant. And here we are, 5 years later. We're really proud to have this team that can offer this expertise to our districts. And that's it. Do you have any questions for us? Looking at you, Mr. D'Angelo, because you usually do.
Can you give us an idea of the how many students that we serve and is it pretty much evenly distributed across the county, or are there?
I can let you speak more to that, Erin, but really right now our goal is getting the word out.
Yeah.
I don't think most districts are aware
Right.
that we even offer this service. It is in our portfolio of special education services, but the referrals have been few and far between.
Okay.
But then again, there are very few of these students.
Yes,
So
yeah.
that makes sense. Sorry, do you want to say more
Excuse me.
about that?
I think we do serve, we're in the capacity, we're already serving these students. Essentially, the TVIs that work for us and the TODs, they're charged with working with them as part of their caseload. As far as if that DBRT team has worked with that specific student, that's where we're just getting up and running. We did 3 formal referrals this school year, but we are supporting them throughout the school year. What we're looking at now is technical assistance to the staff to build the capacity for that staff that are working with them every day. We're already supporting the districts with their deaf-blind child count every year and federal quota and things like that. So it's an extension of that and sharing the information with them about how we can help the kids that they're already have in their classes. So
Right, so in other words, we don't really have the direct referrals, but we're going into the districts themselves and providing training and assistive technology for these students that are in the individual districts. Right?
Yes. So we are the providers of teachers, hearing teachers and vision teachers in some capacity for every one of our 13 districts. So what we have been really working on is having the DBRT do lots of professional development and training for our internal staff. So they're already serving these kids.
Yes.
A referral comes when we really want the whole DBRT to come out and look collaboratively at a student. In the 3 referrals we've had this year, the teams that we have supported have been kind of blown away about how far we can go in terms of the offering of support and how specific we can be about the recommendations for these students. So we hope that more folks will take advantage of that. But to Erin's point, we already serve these kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you both.
Okay, moving on to our next programs and service mini report, the district support teams summary for 25-26. Dr. Holler.
Yes, good evening, everyone. And in your orange folder, you'll find a copy of the report, and it's also item number 10C on the agenda for this evening. If you recall, back to the fall, I had a kind of an introductory about the school year and that we would be doing this district support team work. And so this is kind of the culminating wrap up of the year to summarize the work that's been done throughout the county. This is in conjunction or in collaboration with our program and training specialists, and we work throughout the year to really customize the support. So, it's really interesting because I've actually just completed the meetings for the upcoming school year. I've been out to all your districts. I've been meeting with your team members and really talking about what's the plan for next year. And I always tell them at the end of the meeting, this is not a speak now and forever hold your peace kind of moment. So what we think about when we talk and plan for the school year sometimes changes and shifts. And so by the end of the year, this really gives you a recap of what we've provided in each of your districts. I will not read the report to you but I'll just kind of give some overall themes. One of the things that we consistently find as an area of support is multi-tiered or systems of support and really providing that positive school-wide positive behavior support throughout the districts. In addition, some of the things that have cropped up throughout the year are the need to provide support, whether it's through board retreats or superintendent searches. And sometimes those things when we're meeting in the summer, we really don't know, and we can't envision what may be happening by that time during the school year. In addition, some highlights that is always fun to share is that we really had the mobile Fab Lab out and about throughout much of the county. And you can see if your district happened to be one of the recipients of that visit, that's also included on that part of the mini report under your school district. So this gives you just kind of a snapshot of some of the big ticket items. It might not be every single thing we did in every single district, but it gives you kind of a general idea of the kind of support that we provided throughout the county. So do you have any questions for me?
I'd just like to thank you for helping us, Bristol Borough, with our comprehensive plan.
You're welcome.
And it was well received. And also, whenever the Fab Lab shows up, that place, Snyder Girardi, it really lights up. So we really appreciate it. And if you look through this list, many of the other districts are experiencing the same thing. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right.
Okay, Dr. Hoffman, is this time for you to give your report?
Yeah, I was just sitting here looking at the audience. I look at you, you look at us, right? So I'm looking back at you, right? And I was wondering, if every board member here knew sort of who's in the room with us most of the time. So let's do a little exercise. If you work for the Bucks IU or have worked for the Bucks IU in the last year, could you raise your hand? So I just want to give you a sense of the team at the intermediate unit, their support. Thank you. The dedication that they have and the fact that they attend these meetings because they're interested in our programs and they appreciate your support of their work. So thank you to the Bucks IU team that are here each and every board meeting with our board. In your orange folders for your convenience, all of these things supplement your ability to report to your boards. Michelle will send you everything tomorrow, including the advocacy committee, subcommittee meeting slides related to our Educating Children and Youth Experiencing Homelessness grant program supporting Region 8 in Pennsylvania. You get those, but you get these as well. And of course, they're also in board docs for anyone. You've got your 2 mini reports. The awesome news is a collection of all our amazing social media highlights. A press release that I shared with all of you highlighting the amazing prom that was in this room literally a little over a month ago, or right around a month ago, May 19th. Yeah, thank you. Got it. And also a report on the amazing graduation ceremony. These 2 press releases actually were written by a really incredible Bucks IU employee who's here as well, probably covering our retirees. Joan, could you just sort of wave your hand back there? Joan's one of our amazing paraprofessionals, job coaches. She works at Pearl S. Buck. Prior to that, she worked at Samuel Everett. Prior to that, she was a reporter with the Courier Times and the Intel. And so when she retired from that career, we were happy that she chose the Bucks IU. And so these amazing stories that we are able to produce that highlight our students and our programs, Joan is often the architect and the author behind those. And so it's not any surprise that the Herald and the Patch and the Courier and all these other, they pick them up because they're written so well. So thank you, Joan. We appreciate your service to the IU in so many different ways. And I want to thank all the board members that attend these events. Many of you are at least double volunteers. You're serving on your school board. You're serving here. Some of you are serving on the tech school JOC. And so the time that you dedicate to Bucks IU events, not only at these meetings, but at these special events, it's appreciated. We had a really nice turnout at the graduation. Mr. D'Angelo, I know that you always enjoy that event quite a bit.
Absolutely. And I will just say this, you mentioned about, first of all, the graduation, Caden and Amelia were our commencement speakers. And I think I said it that night that their speeches and their message to their family and friends, I think, are still ringing in that hall. And I will never forget it. It really was. And just to add what you said about all of you IU employees that are here tonight, I seem to remember at the prom, which is also a great event, all the same faces at the prom, probably having a better time than the students that attended. And then when you look out on graduation night, all the same faces there for the kids, enjoying it, interacting with their parents and letting them know that they may be graduating, but they'll always be part of the IU family. So again, kudos to everybody that made all that happen. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So thank you to everybody. I encourage you to participate in any of these amazing events. If you'd like to come and visit some of our ESY programming or summer related early childhood programs, just let me know. I'm happy to take you out and about and show you around Bucks County. If your schedule opens up in the summer a little differently than perhaps it does during the school year, just let me know what you'd like to do. Mr. D'Angelo, that concludes my report. Thank you all.
All right, moving on to item 11, our informational items and the legislative report. Let's hope that Rebecca can give us some good updates on our budgets.
Oh, I wish I had news of celebration, and unfortunately I don't, but it's really special to celebrate all the retirees here this evening. It was really great to see these familiar faces and see how they're all rested and relaxed and yeah. So your legislative report can be found in your orange folder. It's also item 11A for anyone following from home on board docs. I always start with the scheduled session days. The House is in session this week. The Senate is not, but the Senate returns next week. The House is also in session next week. So an update. I know you're on the edge of your seat. I know you can't wait. An update. Are we going to have an on-time or nearly on-time budget this year? And that's the big question. And we just don't know. I thought it would be helpful to go through a little kind of 5-year history of how often the budget comes in on time. We all remember last year, 25-26, that budget was not signed into law until November 12th, nearly 5.5 months after it was due. In 2024, the budget almost came in on time. It was signed into law on July 11th. In 2023, it was August 3rd. In 2022, it was July 8th. Not too bad. The last time a state budget came in on time was the 21-22 school year, and that was when Governor Tom Wolf signed the budget on June 30th. So what I can tell you is all parties, the governor's office, House Republicans, House Democrats, Senate Republicans, Senate Democrats, they all seem to be committed when you talk to them of bringing this in on time or nearly on time. I've had several people say we may not make June 30th, but expect the first or second week of July. So fingers crossed. What seems to be the issue? The issue is this long-term structural imbalance. I'm over on page 2 if you're following along, in which our revenues that we're bringing in are not keeping up with the expenses. So in the overall 5-year fiscal outlook released last November, Pennsylvania's Independent Fiscal Office, the IFO, projected that the state faces a structural deficit of $3.65 billion for 25-26, and that figure will grow to $7.5 billion by 2030. To put that in perspective, we only have $7.7 billion in our rainy day fund. So there's not enough money in reserves to keep covering the lack of revenue and covering the expenses. In the middle of the page, I reprinted a graphic from that Independent Fiscal Office report that showed you what the projections are for the coming years. And so then the question is, so how does the governor plan to fix this structural deficit? And that's what's happening right now with these negotiations, because there's such a varied perspective on how to fix this. As you know, in the governor's budget, the governor proposed legalizing and taxing recreational marijuana. That would bring in about $200 million in additional sales tax revenue. He also proposed regulating and taxing skilled game machines. And he also proposed increasing the minimum wage from $7.25 to $15 an hour beginning in January 2027. And that was projected to generate an additional $80 million in annual tax revenue. The skilled games is quite lucrative. The governor's office recommended if they would tax skilled games by 52%, which is still less than what casino games are taxed at, which is at 55%, that would bring in $2 billion annually. The Independent Fiscal Office disagrees with that number. They said it's more like $1 billion. But in any event, Democrats in both the House and Senate also introduced a separate standalone proposal that would extend the state's existing gross receipts tax to digital revenue platforms such as Google, Meta, Amazon, and others, which is potentially supposed to generate an additional $500 million in annual revenue. So here's the bottom line. This is what they're negotiating on. It is still unclear what form of these additional revenues may or may not make it into the budget. It's also unclear what that final spend number is. What is really interesting is the governor's spend number was about 53 billion, and the current revenue is only bringing in close to 44 billion. So there is a big dichotomy there that's got to be closed up some way. And on top of all of that, yesterday, and this is what happens, I have this report ready to go. Usually I have it ready to go on Mondays, and then something happens. And yesterday was one of those days. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court yesterday afternoon released 2 decisions on slot machine skilled games, which has now thrown those budget negotiations back to the forefront. So the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled yesterday that skilled games are considered to be slot machines under Pennsylvania law, and therefore they must adhere to the Commonwealth's Gaming Act and the Crimes Code. So I didn't know a lot about skilled games. Some of you may, but I had to look this up. Skilled games are considered to be those machines that are found in taverns, convenience stores, gas stations, corner stores, the local VFW hall, the American Legion hall. They're estimated to be about 80,000 of these type of games operating in Pennsylvania. And they have been operating in this legally gray area where because they are not located in a casino, they then are not taxed the way the exact same slot machine is taxed at Parks Casino, for example, even though it may be a very similar machine. So legally, until this Supreme Court case came out, the receipts from those machines were not taxed, and they did not apply under the Gaming Act. Yesterday's decision said you have to treat these standalone machines in these other one-off places just like you treat these slot machines in a casino or any other place. So we have a ruling that places the casino industry and state lottery proceeds also on one side, and then bar owners and distributors of these skilled games on the other. The producers of these machines and the owners of these machines argued what was called the Chuck E. Cheese defense, meaning you don't tax the Chuck E. Cheese games, so why would you tax our little games in our establishment? They also made a really good case that oftentimes at times of economic downturn, it is the receipts from these games that are keeping them in business. However, the Supreme Court did not buy that argument, and they found that there was very little difference between the slot machine licensed and regulated again in a casino from a similar machine found down the street in a gas station. Lottery officials, casino owners celebrated this decision yesterday. A spokesperson for the House Democrats and Governor Shapiro said that they're reviewing the ruling to talk about next steps. What was also really interesting from this ruling is the Supreme Court justices put enforcement on a 120-day delay, which you really don't see very often. Usually decisions come down and they go into effect on the day they come down. And so what the court said was they are going to give the legislature 4 months to pass legislation defining these machines in another way or legalizing, regulating, and taxing them differently. If the legislature passes such a law, then that would become the law that they are regulated under and not necessarily the Gaming Act. If the legislature doesn't act, and to date, they haven't been able to act on these. I don't know. I feel like for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been coming to you to talk about skilled games. If they don't act, then by default, the Supreme Court decision will stand, and then the State Gaming Act and the Crimes Code will apply to those machines, and there can be a crackdown on them, and they can be seized and or taxed. So what does this mean? Governor Shapiro already in his budget this year set the rate at around 52% to tax these skilled games. And again, the same machines in casinos are taxed around 55%. State Senate Republican leaders previously introduced a proposal that provided a 35% tax rate for skilled games, and they reiterated their support yesterday for 35% tax right after this decision was released. Then another set of Republicans came out and said that that's still too high, and they proposed a 16% tax rate. So again, the Independent Fiscal Office is saying even they're estimating about 1 billion in revenue from these. So this is just, I don't want to say it's thrown a wrench into budget negotiations, but things went on high alert yesterday after the Supreme Court decision came out. So we'll see what happens. Yes, Mr. D'Angelo.
And the Independent Fiscal Office estimates that taxing would be bringing 1 billion. But
Yes.
Under what? Under 55, 52, 35, or 16?
That was unclear. It was unclear what rate they were using to
Okay.
estimate that 1 billion. And also I read in the Independent Fiscal Office report, I believe the discrepancy between the governor's estimates and the Independent Fiscal Office is because the Independent Fiscal Office believes that rather than pay these taxes, a lot of these single owners will just no longer offer these machines. If
Well,
that makes sense.
they-
So
they might-
so the numbers may go, the
Yeah.
numbers of the machines may go down.
Or they might offer the machines and not pay the taxes, which they're doing now.
So it's to be seen what's going to happen. I think the bottom line is this is a significant source of revenue of some sort, and this is going to be a significant part of what that final budget spend is. Okay. All right. I'm now over on page 4. This was the other big, I thought this was going to be the big thing I was going to share with you. The House passed a bell-to-bell mobile device policy. So if you recall, the Senate already passed a bell-to-bell mobile device policy. The House passed a very similar bill on June 1 by a vote of 126 to 75. So now we have a House passed version, we have a Senate passed version. They'll need to reconcile the differences. That's what happens. The measures are very, very similar. One of the differences is each school district under the House passed measure must approve a bell-to-bell mobile device policy no later than the start of the 27-28 school year. The policies must include methods for parents to contact students during the school day and require school entities to provide written notification to parents and legal guardians at the start of each school year and upon enrollment of the methods the parents can use to contact a student during the school day. Such methods may include, but are not limited to, the school building phone number or an electronic email address, as long as such methods are fully staffed during the school day and messages can be readily and timely delivered to students. Both the House bill and the Senate bill contains very similar language on that. Exceptions to the policy may be made for students or immediate family members with medical conditions, students who have an IEP or 504 plan in which a mobile device is a part of that plan of accommodation. Exceptions are in place for English language learners who use a mobile device for translation purposes, and for any student who has permission from a teacher or principal to use a mobile device for instructional purposes. So I think the bottom line is, and I put this at the top of page 5, because the governor, the House, and the Senate have overwhelmingly approved banning student use of cell phones, and that approval has been widely bipartisan in both chambers. I expect the House and Senate budget negotiators to include a mobile device policy requirement in any fiscal or omnibus school code bill that's passed as a part of the budget. Okay. So now, over on page 5, just a couple of other bills that were approved by the House. The School Professional Seizure Recognition and First Aid Training Bill would require school nurses and professional staff whose duties include direct contact with students to complete training every 2 years, addressing the signs and symptoms of a seizure, as well as how to provide first aid treatment if a student has a seizure. That measure was approved by the full House on June 1st. It's now been sent to the Senate. There's also a career technical education curriculum modernization grant program, which was also approved by the full House. And this program would provide funding to career technical centers, school districts, and intermediate units that offer CTE programs to assist them with developing and modernizing instructional curriculum with digital or printed platforms. And that measure was approved unanimously, 201-0 on June 2nd, and it's also been sent to the Senate for further consideration. At the bottom of page 5, there's been a lot of controversy about this bill, so I brought it to your attention. It's called the Student-Related Injury Leave Bill. It's House Bill 1919. This would require school entities to pay full salary and benefits for up to 1 year when a school employee is injured in the performance of their duties by a student or by a student's parent or guardian. Medical documentation must be submitted to support the leave within 15 days of the injury, and any workers' compensation payment that would otherwise be made available to the employee would be required to be turned over to the school. The leave time up to 1 year under this proposal would be in addition to any accrued sick, personal, or vacation days, and such days could not be expected to be used for any student-related injury leave. So this measure was only reported out of the House Education Committee. It was by a vote of 16-10 on June 2nd. It's now been referred to the Rules Committee for further consideration. Both PASBO and PASA are opposed to the measure. They wrote letters against the measure. The bill is strongly supported by the PSEA. I'll keep a look on it and let you know if it moves out of Rules Committee. At the top of page 6, very similarly, over on the Senate side, the Paid Family Care Act, which is Senate Bill 906, was approved by the Senate Labor and Industry Committee. This bill would provide a statewide family and medical leave insurance program that would be funded by contributions from both employers and employees in order to provide paid time off for employees who qualify for family and medical leave. This measure was approved by a vote of 9-2. It is a bipartisan measure. It was reported out of the Senate Labor and Industry Committee on June 10th, and it's now been referred to the full Senate for further consideration. And then finally, at the bottom of page 6, I just provide a real quick federal update on the FCC's rulemaking regarding E-rate. On June 5th, the Federal Communications Commission released a draft notice of proposed rulemaking that truly raises serious concerns about the future of the E-rate program. The rule was released and was described as a review to explore changing the E-rate rules, and it is scheduled to be voted on by the FCC on June 25th, and then there would be a 30-day comment period. It includes a handful of far-reaching, high-stake proposals, including fully sunsetting the E-rate program, restricting funding to eligibility to rural schools only, excluding pre-K counts and Head Start programs from E-rate funds, penalizing or removing funding for the Children's Internet Protection Act compliance requirements, and requiring future participation to include limits on student screen time, expanded filtering, including social media bans, and mandatory digital literacy courses. We will closely follow this. Just so you know, the School Superintendents Association, that's AASA, is very much opposed, and they are actively lobbying against this rulemaking. And that is it for me. Anyone have any questions? Yes, Ms. Sheehan.
Thank you. I'm just trying to understand a little more clearly what page? The CTE bill.
Sure.
The modernization. I was just curious, is that the modernizing instructional curriculum? Are we talking about the delivery of the curriculum? Is it the content of the curriculum? What exactly is what's being modernized? I just wasn't.
It's my understanding that the intent of the sponsors and co-sponsors of the bill are to provide funding to CTCs in order to update instruction so that that instruction can be delivered digitally.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
So not necessarily hands-on, but that they could have some sort of digital platforms as well.
Okay, so it's delivery. All right, thank you.
Yep, you're
Appreciate it.
welcome. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. I just want everyone to know that yesterday in one of our many staff meetings, a staff member said, "Rebecca, how long is your legislative report?" And when I told her, she was like, "Okay." So hopefully that wasn't too bad for the person.
If you're
who
that staff
asked me
member,
that.
raise your hand.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't you. She's turning red.
Thank you, Rebecca. I do have one question regarding the use of the phones in the classrooms. This is something that we've all been hearing about, and it seems like both the House and the Senate have kind of some form of it. I was speaking to our principal, and I was saying, this is coming. And what about districts so is this going to override any district policy? And my question is that, so in our district, we have like a policy, and from what I'm hearing, it seems to be working. Like it's not really a problem, right? So the teachers and the administration have agreed that they just have to turn their phones off, and that there is a time during the day. And I don't know the specifics of this, or it's like you just got to put your phone in a bucket, or you have to have it turned off all day. So I guess my question is, do you know of anything in those either House or Senate bill that's going to say, no, this is it, and no deviations from it?
Yes, both the Senate version of the bill and the House version of the bill are very clear as to what the district policy must contain. Okay, and both the House and Senate versions are bell to bell, meaning from the time you walk in the door until the time you leave. So those time periods of recess, lunch, in the hallways between classes, you are not to have a cell phone. But what is really important to note is the House version says that districts will have into the year 27-28 to meet those requirements. Yeah. Well, the 27-28 school year. Yeah. So this will be 26-27. So we have a full year, right? And whatever the final language is, I'm sure there'll be a lot of review of that language, but it then would just be drafting policies to meet the requirements of that language, and then making sure the practicalities of it are able to be followed. And Dr. Hoffman, I know there's been talk about this at the executive director level. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
I think you captured it well. The only thing I'll add is that there are many folks that are not, anyone who opposes the Senate and the House measure that I'm aware of, don't oppose it because they're fundamentally opposed to the idea of a separation from phones for young people. I think the spirit of the opposition to these legislative demands is that we're a Commonwealth and we have locally elected school boards, and it should be each locally elected school board and locally appointed administration that determines what your cell phone and device use policy should be, so that the state code allows for you to do so much independently, which is why we all have different policies. The pushback has been, don't legislate how we run our schools. Just set a standard and allow us to pass policies that meet those standards. And so I feel like a lot of people who oppose this, they're not like, yay, phones. What they're instead saying is, this is Pennsylvania. Allow us to run our schools the way we want to run our schools. And if we want to allow our kids to have phones in the cafeteria, then let us. Don't tell us we can't. And if we want to allow our kids to have phones on buses, then let us. Don't tell us we can't. That's the opposition that I'm seeing. Sort of, it's that we're a fiercely local control state, as you know. And so anytime the state legislates something that oversteps that, even if people agree with the overstep, they don't like it. Also, there's parents groups. I've learned that there's as many parent groups that are for this as they're against it. Plenty of parents don't like the idea that their child will be separated from the communication device that they use to communicate with their parent during the day. And so there's an anticipation that many parents who may be for this initially will be ultimately against it when they realize that when they text their child, the child will not text back. And there are many school administrators who are nervous that this requirement that any message need to be delivered in a timely manner will require that we hire as school systems runners in every school, so that every time a parent wants to communicate with a child in that timely manner, that you're hiring a runner to run the message from the office to the child, and that the child writes the message back, and then the runner goes back to the school or to the office. So all of this is to be determined, and it might sound exaggerative, but these are the things that people are talking about, which is why we go back to local control. So, do you hear the same things?
Yes, you said it much better, though.
I would just add that in looking at it, it did say there are some exceptions, right? If like for medical needs. And so I think therein lies the rub, right? In other words, you say bell to bell with exception after exception, and then that's the quagmire that you put the local school district in, right? To have to
Right,
manage.
because then
those.
everybody has the exception. You're going to have a lot of IEPs that are created and 504s that are created for the sole exclusive use of the child having the phone. So parents find a way, kids find a way. And then of course, I mean, I could talk about this for hours. There's the theory that the kids will create burner phones or bring burner phones in, and that's the one they turn over, and then they keep the real phone with them. And then of course, staff have phones with them as well, right? Here's my phone right here, right? Like our teachers, our paras, our drivers, drivers while they're driving. But my point is they carry them. Every adult at this point, I might be exaggerating there, but most adults at this point have phones. And so you're going to create a culture of have and have nots. If the teacher's on their phone and the kids can't have it, and now you're going to have kids reporting on their teachers using their phone, and they can't have their phone. Why can the teacher have the phone? You're going to create conflict.
It's going to be interesting. Okay, moving on to item 12. As previously announced, we did hold an executive session this evening and to receive and review the annual Act 44 of the 2018 Safety and Security Report, as well as to discuss personnel items. So that being said, item 13, does anyone have any old business that they wish to discuss? I would just like to add one thing, and I would like to thank Allison and our business team. As many of us are working on our budgets and have come to the sad conclusion that we have to raise taxes, which is seems to be very unpopular. But I want to commend Allison and her team. And Allison, what is our budget for this year, coming year?
The budget for next year will be $271 million.
271, and that's without the ability to raise, to ask the taxpayers for anything. And so what I would say is that that's what it is now. But as things go on and on, usually things change. Districts have new students, have new needs come to us during the year. So there's probably a likelihood that will get bigger, right? But I just want to thank you and your team for just doing such an outstanding job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the recognition.
Okay. So is there any new business that anyone would like to bring up, or any questions or concerns about anything tonight? I'll take that as a no. Item 15, public participation. Is any comments not limited to agenda items? Karen? No more comments? Is that a statement or a demand? Okay. Okay, well, I just want to remind everyone that our next meeting will be on Tuesday, July 21, 2026, right here at the IU Administrative Office. Hopefully, we will all have a budget by then. Rebecca?
You will all have.
Yes, well, we do, but well, I'm saying we have one from the state.
We have good news.
Okay, so, okay, so with that being said, could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Mr.
Mr.
Hallowell,
Hollowell, thank you.
second with Ms. Sheehan. Thank you.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Being adjourned.